name is Charlie Hendricks.
He hates her. He wants her off the island.
One of those people down there is the killer.
Hello, and welcome to Series 4 of Jam Presents, a podcast series by me, Mike Groves, and a good mate of mine, Jason Cripps. We're here to investigate the murder of Charlie Hendricks alongside Channel 4's new murder mystery reality TV show, Murder Island. Murder Island, Episode 5, the penultimate episode. Back in my usual spot, no hot tub this week. I'm actually a little bit nervous. Last week I had the excuse. If we screwed up, I could have just said, it's because I'm recording from Devon or what have you. I think I even repeated myself a few times last week. Hopefully nobody noticed. Anyway, I think I even repeated myself a few... No, I'm not going to make that joke. I can't believe we're now just a week away from learning who the killer is. And well, originally I'd put who will walk away with the £50,000, but we know that only one couple can or can't. And I think that's a nice twist now that we don't actually know. We'll get into that a bit later, but when I first wrote this, it was very much, next week we'll find out. There's only one team that can do it now. That's if Si and Mac are still on in the running.
Yeah, I still think they're in the running secretly.
That's what happens if they don't get it, I think, is that Palm, Macca and Si just get a share of it each.
Okay, they don't get gunged or anything like that.
No, but we do have a nice reference to like Funhouse and Finders Keepers later on. So
yeah,
we've had a bit of a strange week this week because we've had the launch of our Ghost Watch podcast. So I've not been able to make nearly as many stupid posts on Twitter and Instagram as I usually do. So anyone listening, if you've got withdrawal symptoms, I do apologise for that. I think there might only be one or two people appreciating those on a daily basis, but they're there if you like them. Hit the mute button if you don't, I think is same with the podcast. If you don't like it, please listen. Just put it on mute.
Block.
We'll be tackling this week's show in the same way as we normally do, going through our notes from tonight's episode, looking over some of the tweets that have come our way over the last few hours, and discussing who we think will be revealed as the killer. But before we do any of that, we ought to go over a few things that have come to light before or since the last time that we recorded, because we mention it all the time, but we record immediately after the episode goes out, and then there's all the fallout and all the conclusions that people are drawing over the next 6 days that we can only then look into after we've gone live effectively.
And I think I have a tendency to make stuff up in my head or misquote stuff.
There's a lot of that where you'll often say, oh, this person said this, and then I go through the episode and look for that exact quote, and it's nothing like it. I do love it. Although I did make up a peacock sound a few weeks ago, and I said, I'm sure I heard it. I went back, it was crows. Close enough. But birds, right? First thing we need to mention or acknowledge, Beth's birthday. So Beth is a friend of ours who follows along with all the shows that we cover. She's dusted off her old Twitter account so she can get involved and jump on the jam wagon. Patent pending. Anyway, happy birthday, Beth. I said I'd mention it, and there you go. You're going to say happy birthday? You're not speaking of Beth anymore?
I thought.
Was that from both of us?
Yeah, I thought it was a communal happy birthday.
All right, there we go. So from both of us, Beth, happy birthday. Another thing I want to mention is the efforts that everyone's going to in order to find out additional clues. Rather than taking this show for what it is, a drama with a sprinkling of reality TV, we have seen some incredible and often bizarre conclusions that are being drawn. I love that people have drawn up timelines based on the events that we've been made aware of, and where people have shared like the screenshots of the writing on the whiteboards that may give more detail than we're supposed to know at that particular time. But what I can't quite get my head around is that some people are forgetting that it's a TV show, and TV shows have inconsistencies and continuity errors. I'm putting my head on the line a little bit here, because if this does come true, then I'm going to look like a bigger idiot than I already do. And I promise I'm not having a dig, so I'm not out, I'm not here to offend anyone right now. But one post in particular caught my eye this week, which questioned why the moon was in a different phase in its lunar cycle from one shot to another. Now, unless Hamish is actually a werewolf, then I'm fairly certain that's just because they didn't want to wait another month to reshoot an entire scene. The best bit was a few people actually challenged this, and the original poster suggested that the moon would have been edited if it wasn't intentional. It must mean something. And I'm thinking, you know, they does this person think they've got a much bigger budget than they actually this isn't a Marvel movie, you know.
CGI moon.
Yeah. So it did make me laugh. The other thing, like, we found out, certainly, look, there's a lot going on Facebook. There's a few posts on Reddit. There's a hell of a lot under the hashtag.
Is that your Facebook group?
Fuck off. It's not my Facebook group. No, but what we've seen on Facebook is
you're borderline getting banned from that Facebook group.
I might not be in it by next week. I've got 6 days left to last, right? But it's
you've got to
again,
think of your final post. What's going to be your magnum opus?
It might have been. It might have already had it, but it was promoting the podcast, so it's fine. What I found is that and this is on Twitter as well, this is on Reddit, people are so defensive over their theories as of late. And the truth is, none of us know exactly what's going to happen. When asked on Twitter recently, even Ian Rankin said he wouldn't be doing his job properly if you could identify the murderer this early, albeit that was a few episodes ago. But what I just want to emphasise is, can we not just be kind? I know here I am calling out a few people that are being horrible to one another, so maybe I'm, not being kind in that sense. But, we're all here just to try and catch a killer and have a few laughs along the way. It's a fantastic TV show, but that's exactly what it is. It's a TV show. It's entertainment. And we don't need to fall out with one another just because we've got a difference in opinion.
I'm still friends with you. I don't know who you're calling out.
Well, that's it. Can we make friends now? If
anyone in particular?
No, look, I just want everyone to be kind and live in harmony and cuddle each other when, everyone's COVID free, etc. With all that said, before we start, and it's coming, and I know you're going to be completely unprepared, please give me your 1 or 2 word summary of tonight's episode.
I'm going to go just with South Beach.
Yes, love that. I love that.
For once, you like it.
I really like that because there is actually, 1, I think the whole story around that was brilliant. 2, something incredible happened on Twitter, almost to a point where I think someone that is tweeting us is in the know of either the storyline or what's happening.
Is it like Rankin's alternative account?
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
He's like, I can't get in on the hype on was it? What do you call it? The jam wagon.
On the jam wagon.
I've got to create an alternative account.
That's exactly what it is. He only follows one person. It's him. It's his real account.
Yeah.
And us. So mine is welcome back. And that's to both Claire Mitchell QC and Chris Peacock. I always get his name wrong. But
he was in it a lot. He was in it a lot, wasn't he?
Yeah. And someone tweeted us saying, is that the Jam Presents influence? Is someone listening?
Channel 4 recutting.
Re-edit, yeah. Forcing it back in. I don't think it is. Anyway, on with tonight's show. For me, personally, it was incredible. And all right, I run the Twitter account, so it's easier for me to say that. No, and I prep the episodes. We all share the load. I've actually been really tired from carrying you for so long, to be honest. No, I wasn't getting at that. I was getting at, it's a different experience, I think, for me than it is for you, purely because I'm watching it with loads of other people as tweets are coming in, and you're watching it being hypercritical and saying, well, that wouldn't happen in real life. What do you think? Like, generally, like, we'll get into it. What did you...
So you said that it was the best episode?
Yeah, I think it was for me, yeah.
See, I agree, but for me, it wasn't because I couldn't pick that much fault with it.
I like that.
Like, my notes, of which there are many.
How many? Like,
a lot. There are quite
2?
a lot. But they're all, like, sensible.
Yeah. I know what you mean. There wasn't much to call out in the terms of... No. Yeah. Often people will comment and say that you've got that dry sense of humor and that you're able to draw out these small things that maybe other people won't notice. And I'm singing your praises here, by the way. Yeah, a lot of people will say that. My mom and my sister mainly are the people and your mom and your sister. And no, but I think it's a difficult one. I think so much happened, but there weren't many of those moments where you're like, why the fuck did they do that?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, go on, carry on.
On with it. We get the usual recap, and Scott actually said on Twitter, because Channel 4 tweeted that first 2 minutes of the episode, they put it in a tweet saying, if you need to catch up on the series so far, watch it in these 2 minutes. And he's like, funny how we've all been watching for 4 weeks, and now you can catch up on the entire thing in 2 minutes. Why have we wasted our damn time? But no, it was a good recap. And the episode called Buried Memories. And I love that. And it's only since I've just looking at this now that Buried Memories is a brilliant name for this episode, because of the initially you think, oh, it's all about memories that have been buried by people. You know, they've just buried it in their minds. But in actual fact, when we find the dictaphone later on, it's proper buried. Love it. Double meaning. That's great. So we actually open, and there's a moment, and I don't know if you want to do an impression of her, but
No, I'm not. But, I mean, is this a thing? Like,
she sounds like...
Do you call your... Is the thing like shouting at cows for them to come to
It's
you?
not just shouting at cows. You're not saying Daisy or Gertrude or anything like that.
But then you're not like traditionally doing a moo either, are you?
No, but she sounds like the scrap iron person that comes around, any old iron. It comes around looking for you. Shed roofs and stuff, honestly.
That's literally my first note. Cow call, question mark.
Happens later on as well. It's superb.
Yeah.
There are some fantastic whiteboards that we need people to freeze frame for us. And later on as well, we see the diary entries. And I know one of them gets read out by Charlie as like the Force Ghost that we hear a bit later on. But the whiteboards are so clear in this episode. So when Perry's mom gets on it, when she watches in the US, at some point, I want all those screenshots sent to us. At the very start, Nick and Andrew, so they go their separate ways, don't they? Nick and Andrew go to see Ishbel, and they want to learn about Logan. And in their chat to the camera, this is before they go, they're like, oh yeah, well, we're just applying what we've seen in TV shows and movies, really. They're just us, aren't they?
100%.
That's...
I wish it would cut away from them just like kicking a door in.
Yeah, we've learned this from Starsky and Hutch, and then they're like flying over car bonnets. And stuff. Yeah. Oh, for the Americans, that's a hood. Our cars don't wear hats. Also, when they get to Ishbel's, she says, would you like a cup of tea? And one, I love that they say yes, because I'd be all over that. If an actor was going to make me a cup of tea, always saying yes to that. Do they get told, yeah, stall her for a minute, tell her to make a cup of tea, or are they just prepared to make it as normal as possible?
It's not just a cup of tea, she brings in that whole...
Well, she brings in a pot.
Yeah.
Now, when they say, would you like sugar? They say, as it comes. I'm prepared then for one of them to just pick it up and start drinking through the teapot spout, because that's how it's come. It's come in a teapot. Drink it out of that then, mate. Go on. Yeah. So I've got a friend actually who you'll say, oh, do you want a cup of tea? And they'll go, yeah. How do you want it? Oh, as it comes. And then you make it for them and they'll go, oh, you got any milk? But yeah. Yeah. So then you give them some milk and then say, oh, can I have some sugar as well? This isn't how it fucking comes.
Yeah. Here's just hot water. Here's a tea bag. Do it yourself.
Anyway. Rich and Sarah, whilst Andrew and Nick are on the road with Ishbel, not on the road with her, gone to see her, obviously went on the road to get there. They're having that lovely time with their 2-year-old, which we didn't know about. We had no idea. I didn't actually know until this episode. I thought they were in a relationship, but I didn't know that they were engaged to be married. So that was pretty cool. Unless...
I'm sure you did.
I knew that...
Because I did.
Oh, maybe we've just not spoken about it then. I knew they were together, but yeah.
You just didn't get an invite to the wedding. Is that what? Oh, it's a bit awkward now, isn't it? Still
pushing. They might have got married on the 50 grand that they've won.
Probably, yeah. Probably.
If they've won it. Presumably they have. But they're at the same time, after they've spoken to their daughter and stuff like that, they're talking about phone records. And actually, you say there's not much to pick apart, but those phone records are just someone's writing in Excel. That's...
You know what? I was going to let that slip. I was going to say, I'm not going to bring that up.
Do you know what? I think that's probably the best way of doing it, though, because when you get text messages and things like that, someone in the police would have had to have typed that up. You get an apprentice or a graduate in and say, can you type these text messages out? Because if it was just phone records and call logs, I'd appreciate it might just be on a bill, but you wouldn't see the content of text messages. So perhaps that's what they do.
So can they see text messages?
Yeah, they could see, and that's sort of what's made me think now. Actually, it wasn't just call logs. No, don't look at me like that. I don't think that the police can see your text messages as you're texting me through the day. You'd be in jail by now for all those pictures of the peacock that you send me on a daily basis. But yeah, we learn about Freddie texting Logan, and we learn about the meetups and things like that. And then it cuts back. So we're back and forth between the phone logs and Ishbel talking to Nick and Andrew. She tells...
This got me thinking, because you never see the boys get those phone logs, do you?
No.
So do you think they have a choice? Because it comes back later on. Something said, and it feels like they had a choice. You either do A or B, or you've got to decide. So is it, right, you can have the phone logs, or you can go and see Ishbel?
Yes, because when they went to the house later on in the episode, and
the manse, yeah,
yeah, all right. Jeez, calling me up on technicalities, and the lads went to the manse, and then Sarah and Richmond went to speak to Jean in the shop.
Yeah, both had the same outcome.
Yeah, they both got that clue, but yeah, how did they just pick an envelope, or? How did they get to those conclusions? What I would say is that actually we've been speaking to Nick and Andrew on Instagram, and they said it's interesting how it's all edited together. And we'll get this. We're going to try and have a chat with Nick and Andrew and Sarah and Richmond. Spoiler alert, because we said we weren't going to say who we were going to be speaking to, but I think that's what's going to happen at the end of the series. But
edit that out, that's fine. Edit that
in or out?
Out.
No, it's fine. Because if we end up just speaking to a peacock, it's cool. So we're speaking to Nick, and Nick said it's interesting how it's all chopped together, in that they are showing in, say, episode 4 stuff that they learned in episode 1, and I think that's why the whiteboards give so much information away.
Definitely.
Yeah, because it's got to fit Ian Rankin's story, and the only way that they're going to be able to do that is by saying, oh, and now we find this information out. And I think that goes back to the questions early on. Why weren't Chrissy and Caroline asking who they thought the father was? They probably did, but you just don't get given that information. And I think that comes down to, there's a lot. When we watched Murder in Small Town X, didn't they cut down 40,000 hours of tape to about 10 hours? It was absolutely phenomenal. And then you think, it's an editor's nightmare. Me trying to edit a podcast at midnight after this, that's why I've refused to do it. And that's like an hour of sound footage, just nothing really. So for them to do that, I get it. But yeah, I think, going back to your original question, do they get a choice, or do they toss a coin, or I don't know. It'd be interesting to find that out, though. That's something to ask for the final episode, or for the bonus episode. They start getting a bit close to the truth, or what you don't know at the time about Ishbel and Logan, but they sort of mention, can we look at Logan's clothes? Can we look at where he does the gutting of the fish?
Do you know what Logan was wearing? She goes, no. I'm thinking, I could probably guess that. I'm going to say blue overalls.
Blue overalls. Although, interestingly, for the first time ever, we saw him in an orange coat today in one of the photos.
We also seen him with his hair slicked back.
Yeah, with no hat and everything. Yeah,
getting quite cozy with Alicia. Oh,
Alicia. Yeah.
You called it last week, didn't you?
I called it in episode 1. If you were to go back now and listen to episode 1, and you're like, oh no, that guy in the kitchen, he's too obvious. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, he's in a jumpsuit like shady villains like
what,
Jason Voorhees, etc.
Yeah.
And then you're like, nah, too obvious. We wrote it off, and here we are now. But it's still not over. We've still got loads of notes to go through. We've still got another 45 minutes of Sarah and Richmond trying to prove it's those two that they've arrested. Freddie, in the text message, something we didn't pick up on when Rich and Sarah were going through this text
Are you
messages.
going to say what I wrote down? Go on, then go for it.
I might have some eye candy for you to either play with or look at. I don't know if he said play with or look at.
Oh, maybe I completely misheard.
Oh,
I'm sure he texted Logan saying, "Do you want to come and play some pool?"
yes, he did. He did.
But you're telling me
It is a snooker table.
So he doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Basically.
No, he doesn't know what he's doing, does he?
Absolute poser. Absolute poser.
Unless he's got the yellow balls, like, you know, he can swap them out. Maybe it's like a dual. Although it's massive, I wouldn't want to play pool on a snooker table.
Do you think like the top comes off and switches it over and it's one of those like football tables?
Yeah, or air hockey or something.
It's like get it from Argos, 150 quid, like 4-in-1.
Yeah, he's leaning on it. It's wobbling like crazy because they're only designed for like 5-year-olds. Oh dear, those were the days. So yeah, Freddie saying I might have some eye candy for you to play with, or maybe or to look at or something like that. But obviously he means Alicia. But I thought he was probably just talking about himself. Yeah, come round, stare at me. Oh my god. Also, you know when Ishbel shuts the lads down and says, "No, you're not going to go and look at his clothes, or you're not going to go and look at where he guts the fish." Is that just her being defensive of her son, or is that the actress going, "No, you fucking can't, because that's not in the script, mate"?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it's
got to be.
Shut him down.
Got to be.
Don't take him to the fish gutting room.
I think this might be when we get the first ad break, and you're like, flipping heck, it's overwhelming. First 15 minutes were mental. And then we meet Charlie's dad, and how they, rather than live interview and say, lads, you can interview him, and Sarah and Richmond, you can interview him, it's very much, we've pre-recorded this interview because there are 6 key questions we need to ask.
And we're gonna let you stand in a hallway and look at the smallest laptop screen.
Yeah, you're gonna sit by a telephone table or something. What's that all about? Why are you in the hall? Surely they've got projectors at Police HQ.
That's what I thought.
Anyway, Charlie's dad, he's just like spilling the beans all over, but he don't care. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to tell you everything. Where was he in episode 1?
Yeah, it's been 7 days.
Maybe he's like Craig David and this is his rest day and that's why he's able to finally talk. So he's asked to describe Charlie and we find out she's adopted.
Did we know that already? I feel like that was on a whiteboard.
Yeah. So this was like
leaked.
I think this might have been Holly getting in touch saying, "Have you seen?" Yeah, it was Holly saying, AKA Jane, Charlie adopted in inverted commas or something like that. So we had that theory a few weeks ago. Does it mean anything? And on the tweets this evening, it's we've had a few people saying, who are Charlie's parents? Will that come into it? I think there's still going to be so much happening in the next episode.
I think the fact that she's adopted is like, that's information now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why make such a big thing about it? Also,
why would you find out about it at this late stage?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We find out her last relationship was with Kerry, and that was who was on the phone that we saw in episode 1. And they were trying for a baby through IVF. So it sounds as though the pregnancy might have been a complete red herring altogether.
However, that's pretty good.
Someone's theory, again, a lot of this is coming from Twitter, stuff that I've just tried to remember over the last few hours because I've not looked at my phone yet, but it is ridiculous again. But one person has actually suggested that what if it is still meaningful? What if the pregnancy is still important? Because when you've got the likes of Tony going over to the manse to, inverted commas, fix a light bulb for Charlie, what if Sonia's got jealous, realised that she's pregnant and putting 2 and 2 together, she thinks it's Tony's, and she's gone and killed Charlie because of that? That'd be mad, an even madder twist. But I think it's still open to interpretation, and I don't think it's as clean cut as we might think at the end of this episode.
No, and I think because it all sort of, the linchpin of it was the dictaphone, wasn't it?
I mean, we harp on about it just because of it being my favourite joke of all time. I was going to ask you whether or not you'd used a dictaphone, Jace, but I think we know the answer to that, and that you usually use your finger. Always gets a laugh as well. But that really was the key or the vital clue in the end.
Yeah, a bit too not convenient, but a bit too case closed.
Oh, look, there's a few moments in this where it's been a bit convenient. Again, the interview with Charlie's dad. It was like, right, here are all the answers. Here are 6 things, or 3 or 4 things at least that we're going to tell you that are going to be important. The postcards was great, were great. The postcards were great. So Charlie had sent her dad a postcard from a few weeks ago, but then he mentioned the one from 5 years prior, where she sent one about someone who had previously died on the island. Now, from the coming soon in the last episode, we could piece together that was Gregor, that was going to be Logan's dad, because we'd already heard that Logan had lost his father and things like that. And then, as you mentioned, the dictaphone. Charlie's dad gave her an old dictaphone.
But I'm sure the question that that Simon and Macca posed to her father was, have you given her any money or anything like that,
or any gifts? And he said, when she was young I gave her a dictaphone. I was like, no, we're talking about why she got $2,000, mate.
yeah not something you gave her 20 years ago. He's not going to rattle through every Christmas list she ever had.
I got her a My Little Pony, and we never got her a Mr. Frosty, because no one gets a Mr. Frosty.
No one had a Mr. Frosty.
No one had one. Everybody you talk to, I always ask for one and they never got it.
Yeah.
If you got a Mr. Frosty, please let us know, by the way. So then the teams go away and read their postcards. And again, Perry's mom, tell us what's on the postcards. There's a lot of information on them. Whether or not it's critical or not, we obviously hear from Charlie on one of them. The rest might be, saw another black rock today when I was looking out at South Beach, because that's all she ever looked at. Don't know. We find out that Gregor died. He drowned at sea. And Charlie felt that there was something strange about the whole thing. We then see 2 days earlier, 2 days prior to the murder, Logan and Ishbel are chatting, and Logan says, I was too young to remember about my father dying, or I can't really remember that, or whatever it may have been. Now, in that scene, are they talking about the way they're talking about Gregor? They don't allude to there being anything suspicious about them, as in them killing him. Because, I'm not being funny, if you guys are like if I'm Logan and you're Ishbel now, you have to pretend. I appreciate being a Scottish middle-aged woman might be difficult to assume, but for now you're Ishbel, would I be saying, you're now talking about the person that we've killed, would you then be talking about him so candidly and me going, I can't remember any of that, when clearly I can remember because I helped you throw him off the side of a boat, or whichever way we disposed of him? So there might be something in that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And the fact that he's saying he can't remember, perhaps he genuinely can't remember what happened that night. And when he got aggressive and started talking to Charlie about it on the dictaphone, maybe I'm clutching here, I'm just, spitballing, but maybe he finally says, we had to get rid of him, because that's what Ishbel's forced upon him, because he can't really remember it.
Yeah, was it Ishbel said that he was a big drinker as well?
Yes, yeah, we find.
But then who do we see? Who do we see as a big drinker?
Oh, she certainly was.
Exactly.
She certainly was. Yeah. Now, Charlie arrives. They're not happy to see her. Ishbel, being a complete control freak. Logan's meant to be an adult. No, you're not allowed to talk to him.
Was he 20?
Yeah, I think so. And then, obviously, we see them in the pub. Ishbel's had a few too many, but we find out that it's her and Gregor's 20th wedding anniversary. Whether or not she's feeling sad because this is their 20th anniversary, or because she killed him, she's feeling guilty. But then on the way out, doesn't she say, she has a go at Jean and says, whatever happened to death do us part? So it's very much one of those, you got married in a church to Hamish, and you said that you'd be with him until death do us part. Or
is that what you think? Is that what you're thinking? Is it?
That's what she. Yeah.
What? Oh, because she's with Charlie. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's left Hamish for Charlie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Enter Andrew and Nick to speak with Logan next.
I love how they think that they can speak to Logan, because I think it's Nick says we're both blokes.
Yeah. He might speak to us because we're both blokes. Yep. Because it's 1945. Like, what? That's very strange.
This is one of my favourite bits of the episode.
This is superb because they're like, "Oh, how did you feel about the death of your father?" Well, not great. My dad died. All right, I'm ad-libbing a little bit there, but
I think it was like, what do you know about the death of Gregor? And he's like, he was my dad.
yeah, and they're like, shit, we didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
Because as the viewer, we knew that, or we were very much anticipating that. But yeah, when they ask him then how he felt, well, it wasn't great. He died.
Yeah. And I'm sure one of them goes, "Oh, that must be devastating." Was it? It's like, I'm pretty sure it would have been.
But then he killed him, so maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was relief.
Oh.
Maybe it was, yeah.
Yeah.
If he killed him, I still think he might have got a whack around the head himself and came round. What if Ishbel tried to kill them both and Logan survived, and then she made up the whole thing because he can't remember. She made up the whole thing to say
That he killed him.
yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, Rankin twist, mate. Save it for the end. Ishbel calls out. I don't know if this is. Oh no, Sarah and Richmond are at the same time interviewing Ishbel, aren't they now? So we've got the flip now. We've got Sarah and Richmond with Ishbel, and we've got Nick and Andrew with
Logan.
And Ishbel's basically saying, yeah, Logan's a bit of a loner, drinks on his own like his father did.
It seems everybody opens up to Sarah. Everyone.
She is brilliant, and I think that's because she asks things in the right way. These actors would have been told, if they ask a closed question, just say yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas she forces them to talk. She's got such a way about her. Although a bit later on, I do question the way she read the. Now, what are they called? Are they called the Miranda rights? Are they called the Miranda? What are they called? Yeah, the rights that you read to.
Yeah. She's reading out of a notebook.
She's reading them, and it's don't get me wrong, I don't even know what they're called, so I wouldn't be able to remember it. But I'd have practiced that in the car. There, I'd have been right. I'm getting this right. I'm going to nail this. If it was Nick and Andrew, they'd have probably gone 1970s and kicked them into the door or something. You know, like.
And also, 100%, if that was me and you, you're definitely doing
it. You'd be laughing. I
would be, yeah.
We'd still be arguing over as to whether or not they're called Miranda rights or not. There's not a lot more to say on sort of Logan and Ishbel at this point, other than I really like the actor who plays Logan. I think he's really good with the interviewers. So anybody asking him the questions, I think he's brilliant at answering and responding.
Yeah.
And he is acting exactly as you would act if you were being like, he calls them out for their stupid questions and things like that. Also, he said he's never that into Charlie, but the fact that she suggested he's a peeping Tom might suggest that that's a lie. However,
well, this is it, because we haven't really seen anything to back that up.
No. It's just a claim in Charlie's diary.
Yeah.
But what if he's just been plotting to kill her? That would have only been over the last 2 days, though, because he only found out about the dictaphone that she was recording him with over the last few days. So, or was it? No, maybe that was. Yeah, that was that same day, wasn't it?
And if he's such a creep as well, if she started talking to him outside the post office, that we learn later on, surely he'd seem a bit more happy.
Yes, if he was into her, he'd be more willing to talk and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, until she sort of spun the whole murderer vibe.
True. Yeah, his tone would have changed from a "oh hey" to a "fuck."
Yeah.
Yeah. Next bit's fantastic. Palm wants to challenge the two teams. Where is the dictaphone? There's a page missing from the diary as well. And she's giving them a grilling. She's like, for now, we've got nothing. Yeah. Well, yeah. They're begging for information. They've been asking for the phone records for ages.
I would literally want to know how many times dictaphone is said in this episode.
Someone actually, I think it's Tedley Manor, has said dictaphone drinking game. I think we'd have died if we'd have had a shot every time dictaphone was mentioned.
I've already put on my notes, Mike to do a dictaphone edit. You pretty much need to edit dictaphone
that entire episode and lift dictaphone out.
Every time.
I mean, it's a challenge, but challenge accepted. Let's do it. If it's only like 4 times now, like dictaphone challenge 4 times.
I mean, at one point, they say it 4 times in like 30 seconds.
In one sentence, yeah. I really wanted the hunt to be Sarah and Richmond versus Nick and Andrew at the same time in the same house, both in the manse, just pulling it apart. We mentioned finders keepers on the show before, but it would be so good to see that. Instead, obviously, Nick and Andrew go to the house. Rich and Sarah go to speak to Jean. And this, I think, we asked the question earlier, I think it was in the last episode, where we said, do you think that actors have a certain bit of information that it doesn't matter who you go and talk to, you will get a key piece of information? And I think this satisfies that, and that both of those could find that black rock, either by looking at photographs that Jean had or by looking at the diary.
Yeah, because we knew a diary entry was ripped out. So that's always a missing piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, the dictaphone was what we had to get. But then what made them go to talk to Jean?
What made them go and talk to Jean was Palm saying, you need to talk to the people who were close. Yeah. You need to talk to the people who were closest to her. Well, we all know who that is, don't we?
Yeah, that's true. But I still think
Logan,
it was like,
as he's putting the blade. No.
I still think it's right. You can either go talk to Jean or go to the house. You know?
Yeah. Again, envelopes, coin toss, whatever it may be. Or depending on how they're performing,
and obviously Jean knows that if the opportunity arises, that she's got to give him this
talk about the photographs.
Yeah.
But the way in which they do that, Sarah and Rich, they go in and first they say, look, we just want to reassure you that, we don't think Charlie had eyes for someone else. We think the reason she's pregnant is not through someone on the island or anything like that, or a man she's met. She was very much in love with you, and the pregnancy might have been that she was trying for IVF with someone else prior to meeting you and all this sort of thing. And they get praised for that later on, and I think it was brilliant. And questionable maybe because some people would say, well, you shouldn't do that, but actually they were told, yeah, you would have got permission to do that. And what a tactic it was to get her on your side. And I think what I really like, and it's off topic a little bit, but LA Noire, the game, where you have to build a relationship with someone and see how they're reacting before you can start asking the difficult questions. Yeah. And some people will respond to that, right, I'm going to put you in cuffs and then start questioning you. I'm going to be badass about it and you're going to do as I say, because that's what they need. They feel under pressure and they need to do it. Well, actually, Jean is clearly one of those that if you go in hard like that, she's just going to be like, shit, no, I'm not saying anything. Whereas actually get her on your side, a bit of empathy, and obviously Sarah's oozing with it, so she's brilliant at bringing that out of Jean, and straight away they've got that trust, and I really, really like that. Really like that. And I think Jean has probably been told, I say Jean, the actress who plays Jean, has probably been told to only give it if she feels comfortable to do so.
Yeah.
And I think they certainly made her feel like that. Although I do question, like, they filmed this over 8 days, so obviously time is of the essence, and at some point they must tell the actors, just fucking give it to them, just put it on a spoon and put it into them.
Just walk away and drop it. Oops.
Drop my postcard. Saw a dictaphone at the Black Rock. Anyway, back at the house, we've got Nick and Andrew looking up and down, hunting up and down. At this point, right, I had to go back into my tweets. So we're finding out that in the postcards we've got the picture of, it's the photographs that Jean shares, isn't it? The postcard. It's a photograph of the South Beach, and and Nick and Andrew find the sketch. The missing drawing from the diary is of that same rock on the South Beach. Ms. Marple, not Miss Marple, the famous detective. This person's clearly got the persona of Ms. Marple on their Twitter handle. It could be Ian Rankin in disguise, don't know. But they tweeted much earlier in the episode, when I asked where is the dictaphone, they said, I'm off to South Beach to look for the dictaphone. Half an hour before we knew anything about this. Half an hour before they were saying, I'm off to South Beach to look for the dictaphone. I guess it's just a mad coincidence, but it blew my mind.
South Beach was mentioned quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just one of those, they pulled dictaphone, they pulled South Beach, and they've gone, bang, that's where it's going to be found. I retweeted, I don't know if whether or not it was a mess, but in my mind, it was like, that's really funny. But never ever thought that was ever going to come true. I was convinced it was going to be in the camper van. They're like, oh, she didn't really care for the dictaphone. It wasn't something precious or anything like that. Certainly was a lot more precious knowing what was on it. Obviously, Jean didn't know that at the time. So I was thinking it's just going to be in the van. No, absolutely. It was on South Beach, and that's where they went to find it. It was like a full-blown treasure hunt at this point, and it was more
wasn't well hidden though, was it? It was like popping out.
Yeah, they didn't need spades or anything like that to dig.
How long's that been there? Over a week. Or at least a week.
Hang on. Is this you getting back into that's been there for at least a week, or the producers could have put that there before they got there?
Within the story.
In the storyline. I see. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah,
yeah.
That hasn't been there a week.
No, that's been there 9 days, but it's only been there about half an hour before the shot was. Yeah, of course. But no, really exciting because we see Sarah and Richard go off to South Beach, and Andrew and Nick are still looking for that page. And when they all find it, and it's very much one of those, Andrew and Nick looking up thinking, shit, they've beat us to it. Claire Mitchell QC comes back. Highlight. I should say, on par with Chris Peacock, because we've mentioned the Peacock a lot. Some people think we're deranged. Some managing directors of STV have called us out for perhaps overthinking the Peacock a bit too much. But we were pleased to see him back at least. We hear the scrap iron lady again, and then we see Richmond and Sarah in dressing gowns. Unusual to see Richmond out of his posh jacket and hat.
Before you go on,
I will pause there.
The whole finding the dictaphone on the South Beach. Yeah. How close do you think that was between, or do you think like Nick and Andrew had to just go and they're like, oh, they already found it like 3 hours ago. Just go, let's just film you like you've just got here. Just missed out on it.
The way in which it was portrayed was that Sarah and Richmond got there for ages ago. Yeah. We're following the clues, we're looking at the camera, and then just as they find it, Nick and Andrew turn up. That never happens in real life, does it? No.
It's the Nick same and Andrew with soaking wet as well.
Yeah, it's the exact same with timings and whodunit. They always make it look like it's a big, mad rush at the end, but someone could have won it by half an hour, you know? I don't know. I think it would have been... Well, we can find that out in a bonus episode. But I think that it's always edited to make it look closer than it perhaps was.
Yeah, there's a bit where Richmond, I think he goes to high five Sarah, but instead he's like Simon helps him up. Is it Simon or Macca with him? I can't remember. But like helps him up. I
genuinely can't remember who went with who in this.
Yeah. Like you have to find it. It looks like he's going to high five Sarah for finding the dictaphone.
Yeah,
but he's sort of trying to scramble up the little last bit of the hill.
Amazing.
Instead, he just like sort of gives her a reassuring like pat on the back.
Oh, casually, sort of. Oh no!
It's like my hand's out for a high five. Oh no, it's for a pat. It's for a pat.
I'll find it. You know that probably didn't happen now, as you mentioned earlier.
100%.
You often see things that aren't there. Yeah. We hear about Richmond's heart attack. Now, I knew there was something earlier, I think in episode 1, where we hear about life-changing things that happened that meant he couldn't play football or whatever it was. But bloody hell, their story is staggering, really.
But this is maybe I've wrote my notes wrong, but I've put as soon as they found this dictaphone on the beach, it pretty much cuts to dumping out the boys. Oh, you're flicking through pages now.
Oh,
because I thought, bloody hell, they didn't hang about, did they?
You know what? Did I? Yeah, no, you're absolutely.
It was like brutal. It was like find the dictaphone, like boys.
Yeah, it's because it was exactly that. It was very much at the end of the treasure hunt before Enter Claire Mitchell QC. It was very much. And now we lose the lads, and Sarah and Richmond are left to catch a killer. All 4 of them were stood there, and Palm's going, right, you went to find the dictaphones. We need to make sure that we've got empathy when we talk to suspects. Sarah and Richmond, you've shown that a lot more. Fuck off, lads. It was. It really was. Yeah, and I've skipped past it, talking about Rich's heart attack and in a dressing gown and things. That's post. I completely glossed over it because very much it was that swift.
Brutal.
You're
Absolutely
gone.
brutal. Yeah.
Oh my god! And that's what we call a live edit because I completely missed the most critical part of the episode. We lost the lads. Yeah. Goodness me. And do you know what? It's one of those. Obviously, it's always edited differently to how it actually happens and everything like that. But from what we've seen, I think the right team have gone through all the way to the final. And I think a lot of people who were commenting on how the lads shouldn't have gone through over Chrissy and Caroline before are probably now more reassured. I think if they'd have then gone on to win it because of today, they'd have got the dictaphone and things like that. Then perhaps some people would have been a bit put out by it, but I think the right team are in the final or in the chance of winning the money.
Yeah, definitely. And this is obviously what we've said is they just haven't won. They still need to put a case together.
I do like that. I do really.
I know you like that, but I put myself in that position, and if that was me, I'd be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, we've done all this work. We're the final couple.
You're telling me I'm the final people, and I still might not win. My work here is done, Joe.
Yeah, at least let us have a bonus prize. Like, give us £1,000 if we.
It's like Caroline just nicking all the mugs.
Yes.
They'll be on eBay straight away.
Just get 50 grand's worth of mugs.
Yeah.
So yeah, we know now, obviously, that Sarah and Richmond are through, and we get to now listen to the dictaphone, and that's where they hear the conversation between Logan and Charlie. We won't get to replay it like we normally would on our podcast, where we do get to edit and we can insert all the audio, but I do particularly like that Charlie calls Logan a silly little boy. And he comes back and says, "Oh, you love the sound of your own voice." I mean, she's got a dictaphone. She probably does love the sound of her own voice. And then she hits us with, "I saw what you and your mum did on that boat last night." And yeah, basically, it transpires, or so we think at the end of this episode, that Logan killed his old man with his mum, and Charlie then reveals that she had a dictaphone. Schoolboy error, as far as I'm concerned. She should never have done that. Obviously, this story wouldn't have gone the way it would have if that hadn't have happened.
I said that in my notes. I've got she shows Logan the dictaphone. What an amateur! Obviously, she needed it for leverage anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So when she says that she saw him and his mum and what they did, like, what they do, like broad daylight.
Yeah. Was it? I mean, it sounds to me like they've gone out on the boat at night. She's just been having a smoke or a sit down or whatever at South Beach, and they've gone out and rolled a corpse over the edge or something like that.
What? Yeah,
but why isn't she reporting that at the time?
Yeah, and why? Like, how shallow is the water? Like, how? Surely they've gone out. Whoa! Hang on. Oh no, it's too late now, isn't it? It's 5 years ago. Well, obviously, all that promo stuff was the body in the bag in the water.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's still playing on my mind, that body in the bag in the water, and I get that it's like a body that looks like an island, and they've made it as their logo and things like that. But the backdrop for it. But I'd still love that to be a thing. I would still love that to be a thing.
Well, Gregor's body turns up 5 years later, like
fully
a message in a bottle,
fully preserved because it's all wrapped in bin bags.
Bin bags, yeah.
Logan explains that's how he got his injuries, because his dad used to drink, and I think didn't Logan fall down the stairs or something like that? That's why he walks with a limp. But obviously it sounds as though his dad pushed him down the stairs. What if that's not the case? And what if he got his injuries from his mum?
True. Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, something she says later on as well, when they get arrested, she says, "Oh, love you, Logan," which could just be a concerned mother, but also could be her just giving him a bit of support, like, don't rat me out.
Yeah, didn't he say, "Don't say anything"? Or he muttered something under his breath like that. Do you think, so I think we may have now had the Rankin twist. I think maybe that was it, in that we find out about Gregor being killed by, or do you think, there might still be more to come?
Well, obviously it said on the next episode, there could be another twist.
Yeah. I would love there to be. So Sarah and Richmond listen further to the tape, and they hear the bell from the shop door. I really liked how they pieced this together. So at the very start, you hear the ding of the bell, and then they follow Logan and Charlie's footsteps and notice that the shop has CCTV, so they can get that and use it as evidence. We watch the CCTV, and then we look at all the phone records, and we can see that Logan has spoke to his mum for 14 minutes. And all of this, they're just bringing it all together so that they can present to Claire Mitchell QC and say, this is our case, this is why we need to go and arrest Ishbel and Logan immediately. And Sarah puts it so cleanly that she gets the go-ahead to go and pull them in.
But it's the first time I've seen Sarah, like, quite nervous in talking.
Yeah, but then equally, there's 50 grand on the line now.
Yeah,
it's not
definitely.
just you've got to beat these other people.
100% Richmond's not saying that. It's always going to be Sarah.
Always going to be Sarah. She's fantastic. Now, there's pressure here because there are 2 arrests to make. I feel like they built us up a bit too much for that pressure because I was expecting one of them to do a runner.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll tackle them if you go and get that. I'm thinking, come on, make that happen. Make one of them. But no, they went the safe way. However, the way they coaxed them out of the house and said, can you come out, please? We want to talk to you before. And it's like, I was hoping one of them was just going to scarper and run out the back of the house.
Oh, yeah, especially when she goes, go and get Logan. And you know Logan is literally
you think the door's just going to shut now.
Yeah, or you just see him bolt out the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. They end the episode with the arrest. Now, what I do really love, and we don't go into the coming next or coming soon, or it'll be finale next week, but what I do really like is when Richmond is in the interview room with one of Logan or Ishbel, and the lawyer is saying, can you not phrase it in such a way, or whatever he's saying, and Richmond's like, I don't think I did actually. He's proper going for it. I can't wait to see that next week. That is going to be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think they're in for a grilling.
Yeah, he fights back. Utterly brilliant. But I agree entirely in terms of the episode didn't have enough for us to piss about with. But that's because it was such a well written and well executed episode that it was just superb. Before we check the tweets, I want to acknowledge that I did ask people where they thought the dictaphone would be found, and some people said in the glove box of the camper van. Some people, this was before the show, some people were saying that it's going to be in the house somewhere. Quite a few people said in the water bottle, probably next to where the diary was found. But it was on South Beach, and Ms. Marple was the only person to get that. However, it probably was after South Beach had been mentioned about 70 times in the episode. We're going to go to Twitter, and Twitter, there's 20 plus things that have come in. What I'm going to do initially is read out some of the things I've taken screenshots of during the show, because there were some things that I need to call out. And I always stall here, so if you can fill it with some like lift music or something like that.
What do you want me to do? Sing or what?
It's fine. I've found them now, so that was enough filler. Thank you. That was perfect. You can make some noises like the cow lady earlier. So Holly said, "Love to have IVF the day before I piss off to Hersher on my own for no reason," which is a great point. Now, I know nothing about IVF, but perhaps it's something that you do over the course of several months, and then it takes like another few months for a sperm to attach to an egg or something. I don't know if that's the case, but I don't think it's like she literally went in for treatment on the Thursday and then went over to the island on Friday. Maybe that is the case. I'm not sure. But then maybe that is the case. I don't know.
We haven't like spoke to Kerry yet, have we? Do you think Kerry's going to make an appearance?
In the next episode, perhaps they do get in touch with Kerry, yeah.
Nah, surely last episode can't be, can it?
Don't know, there's a priest in the next episode that we've not met yet. Oh, in actual fact, that's another tweet that we got from Michael Harmston saying that what if the priest has known all along because of confession, like Ishbel or Logan have been, because Ishbel's a big churchgoer. What if the priest has known?
But surely they've got some sort of legal obligation.
I don't know.
Outside of religious.
Yeah, with the religion and law, I don't know where the boundary is. It was Tedley Manor who said we need a dictaphone drinking game. Take a shot each time it's mentioned. We would definitely die. Beth has put potentially Gregor was Charlie's real dad. Absolutely, could have been. However, if Charlie knew that, she'd have been a darn sight more mad at Logan and Ishbel for killing him. But maybe we find that retrospectively, and we don't actually know that until Charlie's died. Debbie Blackman has said, if only we'd spoken to Charlie's dad in episode 2. Absolutely, he had everything. And that might be it. Oh no, I've got a few more. Tweets that did come in. Mookstar has put, you should record yourself on a dictaphone during the episode, then just play it back for us. Then run off and hide it in some hills. So the Jam Presents Treasure Hunt. We could do it like the Taskmaster's Head or something like that. A dictaphone with us talking. It's the bonus episode, but you can't hear it unless you find it. And Tedley Manor has said, I think I mentioned this earlier, that they clearly edit the or listen to the podcast and then re-edit the series to include more Peacock. Claire Madison Mitchell QC, she uses a middle name on Twitter, but Claire Mitchell QC has said, because I said, look, forget the Peacock, welcome back Claire, and she's put, yeah, that Peacock was hogging too much screen time. Don't think he was. I think we need to see more of him, actually. And then I'm going to go into now and when you get past 20, you don't get any more notifications. So Twitter's like 20 plus. It could be, I think it's probably 20,000. I think it's probably, that's about
round down
the right number. Yeah, rounds down, yeah, to the nearest 20. Mini cheddars are required for the final episode. Love that tweet. I think we should, for our podcast, just hear us munching through some mini cheddars. I did have a Krabby's tonight, which is actually an Edinburgh drink, apparently. I don't know if it's brewed there or if it's brewed down the road now, but I thought that was quite apt.
Topical, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, no, it's Glasgow, isn't it? It's Scotland.
It's Giga, it's Hershire, it's an island, but it's Scotland. Did you see, actually, it brings me on to a completely off topic, but very, very funny this week, was that CNN sent a reporter over to cover the climate conference that's going on, is it GOP 26 or whatever it is? I'm rubbish at remembering things on the spot like this, but they've tweeted a picture of their news tent and them stood with their microphone, and they're like, the backdrop is Edinburgh Castle, and they're like, oh, here I am with 20,000 people, world leaders, all together to discuss climate change. And he's been absolutely hammered because it's in Glasgow. It's in completely wrong city. It's amazing.
That's fantastic.
Oh, I really like that. So Chris Perry's mom Chris has tweeted saying, so my mom has just said the craziest thing. You know what I need to start looking at? Thumbs. I don't know why. Are there thumbprints? Is it looking at someone's thumbs? There is a picture of Charlie, I think, with like a hand
like an
by her
arm
side on the sofa. So perhaps that's it. There's a lot of talk around Charlie's real parents. Don't know if that's going to be a thing. It might just be, again, one of those things at the end where we find out.
This is it, last episode, but I still feel like that the last episode just won't be them building their case. Like, I still think there's more to this, but I don't know if they're just going to run out of time.
What if, we might have mentioned this before, actually. Yeah, we did, about Ishbel parenting Charlie, and she had a baby at like 13, 14 or whatever it may have been. And then that's why she had to be given up for adoption. And that's where... No? Clutching? Too late in the...
I reckon clutching. That's what I mean, it's too...
Because what if Ishbel gets sent down for the murder and then we find out, and that was your daughter?
Ishbel was never a suspect, was she?
Until now, no.
Until now. And Ishbel's only a suspect off the back of Logan. I still don't think it's them. I'm going to put it out there. I say still don't think it was them. Or I thought it was Ishbel. For the last few weeks, I thought it was Ishbel, but now I'm just thinking,
it's too. There's too much of. There's another 40 odd minutes left.
Like 100%, they probably killed Gregor. 100%.
Yeah, I know. I think that's probably the case.
But again, it's just digging up to, like, too much.
So Sarah Lynch, and this is one that's got Ian Rankin involved as well. So Sarah Lynch has put, right, I'm going out on a limb here and calling a drugs ring. I think everyone on the island is involved, partly saying that. So when it is down to one person, I can say, I told you so. Ian Rankin not convinced it's Logan and his mum. Chris Simmons, I'm going for the father of the baby. Just don't know who that is though. And then Sarah Lynch has put Logan, Freddie, Tony, IVF. Whoa, that reminded me. She apologised to Sonia week 1 for what happened in Glasgow. Maybe Charlie slept with Tony in Glasgow and Sonia wanted to sell the package to buy the baby. Ian Rankin, terrific hypothesis.
He's thinking, oh, I should have come up with that.
And then she's put, okay, but that means I'm talking nonsense, so thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Stephen F., cracking episode. Good chance Jace might even have 4 bullet points this week.
Well,
oh,
I hate that. I hate that that's become the thing now.
That is a thing now.
Well, my name comes first in the title, so
yeah, Madge Presents doesn't cut it, does it? Right, I'm giving up on Twitter because there are so many more that I will reply to. I'll probably be up until 2 a.m. just replying to tweets, but we'll upload the episode in the meantime. Before we finish...
Just a quick one, because I never go on Twitter.
Okay.
Right, I just searched the hashtag Murder Island.
Mm.
Flicking through. Everyone's fairly positive about the episode.
Mm.
Someone called... I'm probably going to get some beef here. Right? Someone called Andy Gibson.
Mm.
Who's got 27,000 followers, said, Jesus Christ, reading the arrest caution from a piece of paper. I learnt it when I was 12. Well, then you should know it's not called arrest caution. Checkmate. What 12-year-old's learning that?
You've absolutely done him.
I'm not going to tweet him. and no one else tweeted me, but...
When I was 12, I was learning that caterpillars didn't taste very nice.
Anyway, carry on.
No. So normally we ask questions on who we think the killer is, who's going to win the prize money, etc. But look, do we think that Richmond and Sarah are going to win the 50 grand?
Yes.
Yes. And do you know why we know that fact? Because they are having a nice time on Instagram. They might have been fairly minted already, but I think they are living it up a little bit. But no, it would be a darn shame to get this far now and then for them at the end to say, oh no, sorry guys, you did well, but you just didn't have enough to make an arrest. So who do you think is the killer then? If you've got a name, because Logan and Ishbel are obvious, so obvious now. Is there another twist in the tail?
I hope there is. I really do hope there is. I'm just really mindful that it's the last episode. There's only 45 minutes, and then to completely swing to someone else, and then get the evidence for them.
Yeah,
it needs to happen within the first 10 minutes.
I think it's Ishbel. I think it's Ishbel, and the reason I think it's Ishbel is because if Charlie started finding out and digging around about the incident that happened with Gregor and Logan wasn't actually involved in, there was a risk that he was going to start remembering things or learning things that he didn't necessarily know about it. She killed Charlie to protect herself from what really happened with Gregor all those years ago.
Yeah.
Too obvious.
No, it's not too obvious. I mean, they've got an episode left, so yeah, let's go with Ishbel, not Logan.
If it's going to be one of the others, then I do like that Sonia theory that she thinks that the baby is actually Tony's. I do really, really like that theory.
This whole adoption thing. Why is she adopted?
Yeah, why does it matter that she's been adopted?
Is that just...
That's retrospect. I think we're going to find out at the end that when they put Ishbel behind bars, she's then going to find out that she was a teenage mother and the baby that she gave up for adoption all those years ago was Charlie.
But she would have known that.
I don't know if she would. Maybe. Other than a German Christmas treat from Aldi, what is the Rankin twist? I very nearly went other than and I can't quite word it right now because I'm not written it down, but I was thinking about other than an IKEA piece of furniture or an IKEA chair or something, because they've all got mad names. But the Rankin twist. Do you think we've had it? Do you think that's it for twists, or do you think there's another?
I think there's another one. I think he's got another one up his sleeve.
There's something coming.
Because it's the finale.
The Ishbel was the mother. Telling you, mate, that's the twist. That's the twist. Ishbel gets banged up for the murder, and she then finds out that she killed her own daughter.
Right, we'll go with something like that then. We'll go with something like the adoption means something.
Yes. Yeah.
And even like you say, even if Charlie knew, why would she?
but then that daughter, that child that she was carrying through IVF or through whatever means, the pregnancy. That would be Ishbel's grandson or daughter.
Maybe, yeah. Well,
That's the twist. That's the twist. Before, there is something I want to talk about, but it's not necessarily related to this exact episode. So is there anything else that you want to mention before we draw stumps today?
Not that I can think of.
Fine. Then finally, before we part ways until the final episode next week, we want to announce our Murder Island giveaway. For those of you who follow us on Twitter, we gave away a copy of Ghostwatch on DVD over the Halloween weekend in celebration of our one-off Halloween podcast. However, we feel it's important to recognise all of our existing listeners who join in on the Murder Island action every week. We've therefore compiled a few cool items that we'll bundle together and be running a giveaway that opens right now. And when I say right now, as in, you can enter from when you first hear us talking about this. You do need to listen carefully because there is obviously a closing date and there are a few steps that you need to take in order to enter the giveaway. It's nothing like, we're not begging for followers or anything like that. It's easier than that, but it's just one of those that we want to differentiate between listeners and people that are just retweeting stuff for the sake of a competition. And I get that happens, that's fine, but also we would rather give these goods to someone that's invested in Murder Island and that's been on this journey with us. So, in order to be counted in the draw, these 3 key steps need to be followed. 1, compose a tweet or Instagram post. That's not the only thing you have to do, because a lot of people do that a lot of the time. In that post, so step 2, within that post, you need to include our Twitter handle, which is @PresentsJam. Don't put @JamPresents, we won't see it. That was someone else that created something years ago and has never really used it. Bit jealous that they've got that. But anyway, you need to include the handle @PresentsJam, along with the hashtag, and this is important as well, hashtag JamPresentsMI. The MI obviously stands for Murder Island, but you don't need to type all that out. Just write hashtag JamPresentsMI. What that means is that when we look at tweets that are sent to us, we can see whether or not it's just a general tweet about the show or it's a tweet that you want to be entered into the giveaway. So for now, compose a tweet @PresentsJam along with the hashtag JamPresentsMI. The final part, step 3, is within that post, tell us who you think the killer is and why. Now, don't worry, you don't need to get the killer correct to be in with a chance of winning. As long as you tweet us based on those steps that I've just mentioned before the end of the next episode, which is at 10:15 p.m. on Tuesday, the 9th of November, 2021, we will include you in the draw. So, reminder, a tweet or Instagram post with the handle @PresentsJam and the hashtag JamPresentsMI. Tell us who you think the killer is and why, and make sure you do that before we close the giveaway on Tuesday, 9th of November, 2021, at the end of the next episode, which is 10:15 p.m. For any clarity on this, do give us a shout. DM us, tweet us, text us, message us, whatever it may be. Get in touch and we will be able to clarify that. In the meantime, watch yourselves. There's a full moon this week and Hamish might be on the prowl. Ow!
Sake.